What is going on with the iPhone 16? Why does it look so familiar? Let's get into it. So if you've been in the tech space recently, you would have noticed that the iPhone 16 looks very similar to what the iPhone 12 looked like. And this is for a couple key reasons. Apple realizing that they want spatial video to be, the future, something that people use often. So the cameras have to be perfectly aligned. And also because Apple like to change up the design. The iPhone 13, the iPhone 14, and the iPhone 15 have all looked so similar that Apple is struggling to make people have a reason to upgrade. The iPhone 13 and 14 were basically the same phone. It basically wasn't important to upgrade from the iPhone 12 upwards. It was very difficult for Apple to justify people changing. And the main reason for this is design. People used to love when the iPhone, 4 jumped to the iPhone 5 and there was a massive difference, and the iPhone 5 jumped to the iPhone 6 and that was thin and it was light and it was cool, and the iPhone 7 that bought dual cameras, bought a nice glossy finish, that bought no home button, no headphone jack. iPhone 8 kept it the same but had a glass back, had wireless charging. The iPhone 10, which brought a whole new design, no home button, notch, dual cameras on the back, glass back, everything that people wanted. It was different. It was just completely different to what people expected. Now, people obviously knew in the S years of the iPhone that the iPhone stayed the same looking, but as soon as you upgraded to the next number, that's when things were different. Now, obviously things have changed now. Apple wants to keep a brand identity. People want to have a phone that is recognizable, but I think people also want a good reason to upgrade. We're kind of at a stale point in smartphones where there's not really much to do in terms of if Apple does something too crazy that people don't like, it could completely change their brand reputation. We've seen with Samsung that they used to be the crazy company that would do absolutely anything, would put anything on their phone. But recently, even they've calmed down. They've got the same design language, Samsung Galaxy S21. And I think that's just kind of showing the design pattern. Look at Google Pixel. They used to have some wacky designs. They had notches, they didn't have notches, they had one camera, they had two cameras, they had three cameras. They were completely crazy for so many years. And then with the Pixel 6, we finally got their brand identity. The camera's going horizontally. And that stayed all the way to the Pixel 8. Now, obviously that's only 3 generations, whereas with the iPhone, that's 6 generations we had that design. But that's besides the point. Brands are just becoming the same. People are starting to say that Android phones look the same with iPhones. Things are starting to merge really, really close together. I mean, if we look at the Samsung Galaxy S24, the regular one that just came out, people are comparing that to the iPhone 12, the iPhone 13, because they look so similar. Companies are wanting to make their phones thicker, whereas they all wanted to make them thinner. They wanted to make them have flat displays, where they wanted to make them have curved. Folding phones are the only thing we've had recently that are relatively new and different to the slab phone. But I think seeing this iPhone 16 go back to the original iPhone 12 design proves to me that Apple want to make people have a reason to upgrade. Because if they keep this for another generation, that will be 4 generations they've kept this design for, which is absolutely ludicrous. If you told someone from 2015 that their phone was going to look the same for 4 years to come, it would probably put them off upgrading for the next 4 years, because now phone chips aren't slowing down as quickly, batteries are lasting longer, people are more careful with their phones, and our phones are more robust. Our phones can last for ages, and with software updates, it's kind of proven that phone manufacturers know that people aren't upgrading as often, because it's just not worth it. People don't see the point if their phone isn't going to be looking different or doing something crazy like they were before. Having the same design is a good thing. If we look at the iPhone 16 Pro, that is staying the same design, and that's been on this, since the iPhone 11. But I think it's important to keep the same design because it can also make the phones cheaper. The more that the phones look the same and they keep the same design for years and years and years, the manufacturing process stays easier, it stays more simple. Now, things have changed slightly on the front. Obviously, we've gone from a big notch to a smaller notch to a dynamic island. And what will be next? A punch-hole camera or no notch at all? Now, obviously, this is a cool factor, but it's also just something that's going to naturally come. Phones are just going to become a slab of glass on the front, a slab of glass on the back, and you're going to either be able to pick in between iOS or Android and your different Android choices. But phones are going to be becoming the same, and I think seeing this change from the iPhone 16 to the iPhone 15, it's kind of proven to me that phones are kind of coming to a point where they kind of are reaching their point where they're kind of steadying out, and they're just going to stay the same, and they're just going to get yearly upgrades, keep the chips upgraded, keep the cameras upgraded, because that's what people want. As long as the phone has good camera, has a good chip, they can upgrade to something, people will be happy. But please let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you think that, Apple should change their design ludicrously every single year and should add a crazy new feature that, they're going to scrap in the next year? Please do let me know, because I am genuinely intrigued to know what people think. I will be intrigued to know if you genuinely think that we should have crazy new designs every year and Apple should have light up backs like nothing. Now, I think that's partly the reason why I like switching to Android, is there was so much choice. I had a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra and I also had a Pixel 7 Pro. And those, even though they're the same operating system, they're two drastically different looking phones, which makes it feel like you've upgraded, It makes it feel like you've changed operating systems. It makes it feel like it makes it feel like you're having to learn something new, which I love so much about Android. But Android for me is sometimes just too overly complex. It sometimes brings in, fixes to problems that didn't even really matter, and, over-engineered solutions to the point where it would make the phone feel too clunky. There was too many options. Whereas with iPhone, I like the simplicity. I like how it just works all the time. Whereas with Android, I'd have to, bring out the nerdy stuff. I had to make sure that I was managing my battery, make sure that I was managing all the things that go in the background. Whereas my iPhone does that all for me, and that's what I want. I just want something that simply works. And I think that's why I just love being on iPhone at the moment, is because it keeps it simple. But please let me know what you think. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It's been Harry. I'm out. Peace.